I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Now, today we're reading from the book of Matthew, chapter 14. Let's focus on verses 29 through 33. And climbing out of the boat, Peter started walking on the water and came toward Jesus. But when he saw the strength of the wind, he was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me!" And immediately Jesus reached out his hand, caught a hold of him, and said to him, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" And when they got into the boat, the wind ceased. And then those in the boat worshiped him and said, "Truly, you are the Son of God." Now, on May 8th of 1990, I was sitting in my 75 Corvette, listening to a sermon on a cassette titled "The Crisis of Decision." Now, if I turned right, I would go home to a lucrative summer job, had a full ride track scholarship, 10 hours left to graduate college. If I turned left, I would follow the Lord's call on my life that I knew was burning in my heart. I knew it would take me into the uncertain world of the Christian music business. What did I do? I turned left. I stepped out of the boat, so to speak. And just like that, I made a step of faith. Didn't hurt at all. As a matter of fact, it felt kind of warm and fuzzy. 3 months later, things weren't looking so good. I didn't have any money or apparently enough REM sleep to make my rock and roll dreams come true. I panicked, and then I started doubting if I had really heard from the Lord. Maybe that was just me, or maybe that was a bad pizza. I began making decisions without seeking the Lord, trying to get back to that smooth college life that I had so cavalierly abandoned. I was sinking fast, and everyone around me was watching. It was embarrassing. Whenever you choose to follow the Lord, there's always a boatload of onlookers. And you got to hand it to Peter. He's the only guy on that boat that had enough faith to step out, while the others were hugging life jackets. He took a few steps, but like the rest of us can do, Peter took his focus off of Jesus, and he began sinking. I like Jesus' response, reaching out his hand and adding, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" Now in chapter 8, Jesus rebuked his disciples for waking him during a storm while on a boat. And it seems that Peter attained some faith from that lesson, because this time Peter braved his fears and he stepped out of the boat amid the storm. And the moment that Peter called out to Jesus, notice Jesus gave him support. Interesting, the waves and the wind didn't cease until they both got back into the boat. So have you stepped out in faith, following the Lord only to find yourself weaker than you hoped? The conditions didn't turn out like you planned? Well, call out to Jesus, and he will support you. Now, the storm may not stop automatically, but he will deliver you safely back to his boat. And when you arrive back safely, just know that everyone on the boat will worship the Lord right along with you. So be encouraged by, number one, how the Lord called and supported you. And number two, how your faithful response to his call led to a blessed ending. And then the next time that he beckons you out onto the water, well, then perhaps you'll have a few others stepping out with you. I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Now, Groundworks Ministries operates entirely through financial donations from faithful people like you. And yes, we do need your monthly support, especially now more than ever. Giving is easy at our website. It's a very simple process, groundworksministries.com. You can also help us by telling people about Groundworks Ministries. And of course, you can direct them to our website, groundworksministries.com.